says, if that's your canary, then who's your wife? Buckle your straitjackets, folks. This is Times Square. My Bologna has a first name. It's Rex. And I think it's safe to say you can consider yourself warned. 1980 was a big year for buddy movies. From the Blues Brothers to Stir Crazy, Melvin and Howard to Little Darlings, Times Square follows this same template. It's a story of two teenage would-be mental patients who break out, form a punk rock band while living in a junk-filled clubhouse on the wharfs of the Hudson River, and a late-night radio DJ who becomes obsessed with the two. You had better believe it is exactly as stupid as it sounds. Possibly more so. Your mileage may vary. Our late-night DJ is played by cult movie favorite Tim Curry. It goes without saying that his most famous role is Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but he's also starred in such cult faves as The Lord of Darkness and Legend. No, that's Rocky Horror again. Can we get that? Forget it. He also played the monstrous clown Pennywise in Stephen King's It. No, can we get that fixed? That is Rocky Horror again. And the butler Wadsworth in the movie Clue. Alright, fuck it, I'm going on. The two would-be mental patients are played by Robin Johnson and Trini Alvarado. Robin Johnson went on from Times Square to star in... anything else? Jesus. Okay, well, moving on. Trini Alvarado, on the other hand, also starred in... Moving on. This rock and roll movie, ironically enough, opens with a snappy little disco tune from Roxy Music. I know, there are people out there who are going to moan to me that Roxy Music was technically a glam act, but listen to this shit. It sounds like the sort of thing Denny Terrio vomits up after binging all night on Coke and Rio Niti on ice. It's about as rock and roll as Samantha Ronson. And if I had to point out that that means not at all, then maybe this review ain't exactly your speed. We open on the character of Nikki Murata, inexplicably walking like she has a peg leg or some shit, in what was, undoubtedly, high fashion for 14-year-olds in 1980. Go with it. Okay, that cry rape poster in the background has reminded me to question exactly what age group this movie was marketed toward. It opens here, despite the idiotic disco tune, on what seems like a gritty slice of New York life in 1980. But after Nikki starts wailing on her axe in the alleyway and I Married Dora calls the cops on her, she gets sent to the cracker factory for some reason instead of juvie, at which point the movie takes an abrupt 180 into entirely different territory. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The other central character and would-be mental patient, Pamela Pearl, is the daughter of the asshole responsible for Disneyfying Times Square, and who apparently enjoys publicly asking stupid questions.
Do we want to live in an X-rated city?
Yes. Pamela is still at that naive age where she doesn't believe all politics are a sham, so blatant proof that her father is a compulsive liar for a living sends her into existential fits of letter writing. As it will. Pamela writes her letter to a late-night radio DJ, which affords us our first glimpse of fan favorite Tim Curry.
I can't dance. I can't make friends. I wrote you before, but only in my journal. The letter is signed A Real Zombie. You have something very special inside you, young lady. The seed that contains your unique self.
That spark that is the breath of life.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of a review. Is it any surprise that the girls end up in the same room? Probably not. But it could be a surprise that the attending doctor is the mayor from Ghostbusters.
Say Methodist Episcopal? Methodist Episcopal? Methodist Episcopal.
Take a piss, you asshole.
You know, I'd be really interested to find out what the open call sheet for the character of Nikki Murata looked like. That looks familiar. The two girls develop a relationship founded firmly on solid communication. This display, for whatever reason, somehow convinces Pamela to run away with Nicky. They steal an ambulance, as those attempting to lay low often do, and zany antics naturally ensue. We, on the other hand, are forced to once again ponder exactly what type of movie the creators of this film thought they were making. I'm driving! DJ Frankenfurter, meanwhile, excitedly discovers that runaway Pamela is the daughter of the city commissioner, and then we jarringly pop back to Nicky and Pamela, each missing several inches of hair and looking at least a year older than in the previous scene. You get the really primo streetwalkers down by the waterfront. The two girls decide to begin squatting in an abandoned waterfront warehouse and celebrate this decision with further examples of their trademark communication skills.
Tommy! Nicky! Tommy! Nicky! Tommy!
DJ Frankenfurter is, despite the fact that he works the wee hours of the morning, apparently quite a powerful and popular DJ. So popular, in fact, he seems to think he can break into the studio at any time with a timely and important announcement.
It's in my contract. I can break in at any time with a timely and important announcement.
Oh, it's in his contract. Well, surely not during the evening news.
This is news.
No, clearly the man reading the news has the news.
This is lies, filler, and chatter.
Well, who am I to argue with the man who DJs during the shift when most people are drooling over the warm side of their pillow? DJ Frank lets the girls know that there is nothing medically wrong with either of them, then immediately displays signs that there may be something medically wrong with him. This information, it would seem, gives the girls the guts to stay out on their own, but living is expensive, so they swiftly embark on a series of harebrained money-making schemes, starting out as squeegee kids, before moving on to three-card Monty, and finally straightforward stick-up muggings, which are, unfortunately for them, hampered by a wacky spoonerism.
All right, freeze, motherfucker, or I'll brain your blows out. I mean it, bitch, freeze. What are you laughing at?
You said break your blows out.
Oh.
Armed robbery. This is a children's film, I think.
Tell me something good.
So now that we have confirmation from a stripper's tits that this is no children's movie, I think... Clash of the Titans. What? Clash of the Titans. Who the fuck are you? I'm the pedantic asshole. You call yourself the pedantic... Oh, okay. What was that jive about Clash of the Titans? The displaying of bare breasts alone is not enough to brand this film an adult movie, especially in 1980. The original Clash of the Titans, which was released in 1981, was, for all intents and purposes, a children's film, yet it displayed bare breasts more than once. Well, true, but it also had a clockwork owl based on R2-D2. This movie has no clockwork owl. Yeah, so once the movie admits that it's not for children, it unravels into some serious idiocy, christened by the following scene.
Dancing is 10 minutes. Every half hour, the waitress says you want it. Dancing is topless.
I'm not dancing topless.
You're not dancing topless? And you want a job?
Yes.
You want a job, and you don't want to dance topless. I like that. Class, respect. I like that. It's good for the club. It's good for business.
It may be many, many things, but one thing, sir, I can assure you it won't be, and that is good for business. Did I mention Pamela's like 14 years old? Good old 1980. Pamela's completely idiotic dance routine is initially belittled and mocked, as well it should, but for some inexplicable reason, the crowd slowly begins to enjoy it. In a strip club. Let me repeat that, folks. In a strip club. Well, let's look on the bright side. It can't get much stupider, right? A 14-year-old girl is dancing with a pimp.
The story is ludicrous.
It is. It really, really is. I mean, the bright side is that it really can't get much more ludicrous. I mean, for that to happen, one of them would have to join a band or something. No.
I can lick your face.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Got a taste for flesh. Got a taste for danger. So I fold me to the hands of a stranger. Feed me, can't you hear me howl? Feed me, I'm a damn dog now. Feed me.
Hello?
Bologna, it's Hagen. And I don't fucking care if I'm mispronouncing it.
Hagen? What were you watching this?
I see all. Look, I'm not calling to chat. I'm calling to chastise you for not recognizing classic porn star Sharon Mitchell dancing along to that horrible fucking song.
It is a really horrible fucking song. But where's Sharon Mitchell?
Right there.
How did you manipulate the film?
Don't fiddle fuck around looking for explanations you can never hope to understand. You have been educated.
Fair enough. But I wonder why the creators of this film would include a porn star in the cameo.
Credibility, validity, tenability, respect, class. Not bad for a porn star in a children's film.
It's, actually not a children's film. We've already established that.
Someone should tell that to the film.
Touche. Well, I would... In a...
Feed me, I'm a damn dog.
In a bit...
Feed me, I'm a damn dog.
In a bit...
Feed me, I'm a damn dog.
In a bit...
Feed me, I'm a damn dog.
In a bid to convince Pamela to come home, her father's people concoct a publicly printed letter, attempting to explain Nikki's flaws as a character more clearly to her.
She has what is called a thinking disorder. Often she cannot tell truth from fiction. That means
She should go into politics? The two girls decide to respond to her father's letter with, oh, fuck me. Yep, this movie has definitely overstayed its welcome. I'm gonna make a long story short. Too late! Pamela's father is quite reasonably upset with DJ Frankenfurter, wanting to know what exactly is his fascination with the two girls, leading to this moment, which is possibly my favorite Tim Curry moment ever. Becoming drunk on the public attention they're receiving, Nikki quickly develops Ziggy Stardust syndrome and suggests that they break in and try to take over the radio station. When Pamela objects to this ludicrous suggestion, Nikki accuses her of being in love with Frankenfurter, then immediately runs out to call him up and invite him over. Because that's how jealousy works, right? Yeah, it's Warehouse 56, just off the Hudson River. You can't miss it. This curiously intimate moment between a grown man, a 14-year-old girl, and a bottle of vodka leads to the prerequisite third act crisis, which in no way feels utterly manipulated by the screenplay. Nikki breaks down to the music of Patti Smith, then melts down in the radio station, leading to Pamela visiting her, and then turning on DJ Frankenfurter for no reason whatsoever.
you only care about yourself, you faker.
It feels like I give myself away every day for a living.
You give other people away for a living. You're like a sponge. You take, and drain others of their love and emotion.
For some reason, this prompts Pamela to decide the only thing to do is put on a rock show.
Hello, WKVL? Yeah, well, I'm not repeating this, so get this straight. This is Nikki Murata, the famous murderer.
What do you mean? Murder.
Seemingly every radio station in NYC announces the concert, and thousands of teeny bopper girls make their way down to 42nd Street so that DJ Frank can slowly, oh so slowly, leer over them with a telescope, possibly revealing a little too much about his interest in the two girls.
It's coming together.
Check, please.
The impromptu concert on 40 Deuce turns out to be high above the heads of the audience on the street.
That's being done.
And then we are treated to Nikki performing one more song.
I can lick your face.
Make no mistake about it, Times Square is a bad movie. The plot makes absolutely zero attempt to address the sort of things two teenage runaway girls would actually face living on the mean streets of late 70s Times Square, instead turning it into some sort of rock and roll urban Robinson Crusoe fantasy. Taxi Driver, which was only made 4 years earlier, showed much more realistically what would actually happen to a 14-year-old runaway in that time period. Not only that, while the movie is titled Times Square, the actual location of Times Square is not shown once in the entire running time. 42nd Street is shown ad nauseum. But where was the famous Coke sign? Where was Bond's clothing? Where was Howard Johnson's? Look at this. This is Times Square in 1980. I guess that's a point. But the truly sad part about Times Square is that there are so many scraps of potential littered throughout this movie's running time. All the performances are solid, even Tim Curry, who was pretty over the top a lot of the time. But let's be honest, that's sort of half the reason people like him. The other half is legs. And Robin Johnson is a force of fucking nature, lover or hater. Personally, I enjoy her, and I'm surprised she never appeared in anything of note afterward. But sadly, this was her high point. I've read that the studio meddled heavily with this film, and that initially the subject matter was taken much more seriously, and there was even something of a lesbian love story between the characters of Nikki and Pamela. It's sort of hinted at here, but seems like it was 86'd early on for the absurd rock band plotline, which is another thing. The opening and first half of this movie develops the character of Pamela, and it's implied that she will open up and learn about herself through Nikki, an early version of the manic pixie dream girl. But halfway through, the story shifts to Nikki herself, and the character of Pamela is left drifting along in plot limbo. She goes back to her father at the end, but has anything really changed for her? The film was edited heavily, and it's pretty fucking obvious a lot of the time. Apparently the producers were keen to shove in more songs so they could have a double soundtrack album. Oh, and what was those producers' last film before Times Square? Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, I hardly would have noticed. I'm Rex Bologna, and I will haunt your dreams.
Ooga, ooga, booga.